What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is your review for Belle Collective. Listen, this is going to be the last episode of the season and the first part of the reunion. Listen, all season long, my DVR and OWN and Belle Collective have not been getting along. So the episodes there that is not there, then the date, the is it season 3, season 4 episode, whatever. So listen, I'm gonna go by. I thought I had done the review on the last episode of the season, but I realized I did not. So let me just go through some things really quickly, okay? So we have this whole gala. I'm gonna go through the stuff that I think is important. We're gonna go through this whole gala situation. So here's my issue with the gala situation. Marie, you act like you didn't care nothing about the gala. Every time Akeisha came to you and tried to talk to you about what was going on with the gala, you said that is not my department. All I do is cut the check, okay? You need to work with Essie. Well, Essie had some other things going on that you all understood that Essie had some other stuff going on which prohibited her from really being as active as she normally would have been in the process of getting the gala together. Akeisha said, listen, I understand that, but what I'm not doing is putting my name on some half-ass you know what that's going to be put on. So what we're going to do is we're going to compromise. Either we're going to have to scale this down because if it's not a gala on the level that I expect a gala to be on, then we need to scale this down so that I'm happy and you're happy. And then next year, y'all can just go on back to doing whatever it is that y'all were doing, okay? Then Marie got an attitude. Well, I guess I don't get no vote. Oh, so I guess this is just gonna be Akeisha's gala. Well, girl, maybe if you had given Akeisha some help when she came to you and said she needed some help, maybe if you hadn't blown her off when she came to you and said, listen, I'm a little nervous, I'm a little worried, things aren't where they need to be, the things aren't lining up, maybe, just maybe, it would have been a different conversation. But now you were disengaged from the whole process, and now that it's not going to look the way you want it to look, for appearance's sake, now you got an attitude about it. So I'm with Akeisha. I understand when you put your name on something, if it don't look the way you expect it to look or you want it to look, then either your name isn't on it or you need to adjust accordingly. I'm okay with it being scaled down from a gala to just a nice black tie event. Okay? But it does sound like that. If y'all do this every year, I'm just not understanding. I know organizations that do certain things. I'm a part of organizations that do certain things every year. You keep a vendors list. You have people's contacts and phone numbers. Some things you don't have to reinvent the wheel. If this is a gala that y'all have been doing for the last 3 or 4 years, then a lot of stuff really should have just been a matter of calling the people. First of all, you should have already had a date and a location set. You should have already had a menu set. Because these are the things that if you do it every single year, you already know who you're going to use. You already have a Rolodex. Now, I understand that for the purposes of filming, they pushed the date up so that they weren't actually filming. I mean, they weren't actually having the gala as late in the year as they normally do. So maybe that threw things off as far as the location, as far as availability of vendors. But it shouldn't have thrown it off that much that y'all didn't even have tickets printed. I mean, you can go to Kinko's and get tickets printed. I mean, let's call it what? Not Kinko's. I'm sorry. Staples. I know Kinko's don't exist anymore. At least it don't exist up here. But I mean, you literally could go online and get tickets printed. How do I know? Because I've done it before. There are websites, and literally you can have them done overnight. So I don't know. Well, overnight is an exaggeration, but within 2 to 3 business days. So I don't know. It makes no sense to me. Even when Akeisha was like, well, I had my table. Like, I sold, we all said we were going to sell 3 tables each. I sold my 3 tables. What about y'all? And Marie was like, oh, no, we're selling, we're not selling 3 tables each. We're selling 3 tables for the business. What? Or was it 5 tables? However it was. Anyway, so I was with Akeisha on that one. You hung in there longer than I would have. All right, let's get to this whole capital situation. Now I do feel like I did do this review. Because I feel like I talked about the whole conversation that So Gucci had with Latrice. It's all blending together. Anyway, let me just talk about this whole capital situation because it's part of the reunion. At the end of the day, I absolutely believe that Marie was uninvited because of her situation with Tambra. Now, whether Tambra was a part of the conversation or not, whether her cousin was just, okay, because at the reunion it came out that Tambra's cousin was one of the people planning this honor that the Bells had down to the Capitol. Well, first of all, it sounded like that they were getting a proclamation, but then it sounded like once they got there, they just did a tour of the Capitol. So I don't know. Was it scaled down? Was it never supposed to be a proclamation? Like, what the hell was it even? Because let's be clear. I mean, at this point in the game, unless they were getting some sort of special recognition or something, child, who cares about going to the Capitol? It's not that serious. But I understand where Maria's coming from, and I don't think Maria's too far off the mark. I mean, I'm gonna just call a thing a thing. Now, Tambra, either your cousin acted on your behalf or your cousin acted in concert. But the fact that your cousin, the same person that said she didn't want you coming to your baby shower, which tells me, or baby announcement, which tells me that she was very clear and very much up on who Marie Monroe was and what was going on between Marie and her cousin who was pregnant at the time. I mean, I'm not mad at her for being protective, but that's where you allow your personal to blend in with business. If the Bells were supposed to be honored, then the Bells should have been honored. I'm sorry. I agree with that. And I 100% agree with Marie that this was that it was because of her situation with Tambra. I do. I absolutely do. Now let's get into this reunion situation. So we had part 1 of the reunion last week. So we started off with Latrice and her comment about the 9 to 5 down to the brunch. Listen, I really feel like I said all I needed to say on my review of this situation. Do I think, well, it seemed like the bigger concern was that Latrice was tipsy more so than Latrice made the 9 to 5 comment. Here's the thing. I don't have a problem with the fact that Latrice said, listen, we're all here trying to figure out, I think it's the way she could have said it that might have been a better way of saying it. We're all here trying to figure out a way to get out of our 9 to 5s, because let's face it, that's what we all would love to work for ourselves. That is a nicer way of saying that. I understand that some people were like, she didn't even mean it that way. And like I said, somebody sent me a clip saying this is the full clip. And I mean, my opinion didn't change once I heard the full clip. My opinion still didn't change. I really honestly feel like that it just was a different way it could have been said. Do I think Latrice meant any malice or ill intent? I don't. I think she was nervous. I think she had a couple of shots to calm her nerves, which might have made her a little too loose. And at the end of the day, I just think it could have been said differently. My issue with Latrice is Latrice cannot accept any. She can't accept any criticism. She can't accept any that she has done anything wrong or that she did anything wrong. When we get to the whole So Gucci situation, with the whole realtor thing, again, Latrice, you have every right to do what you have to do, which is in the best interest of your business. Every right. She admitted that she lied about So Gucci being the top realtor in Jackson to make her look good because at the time that was her girl. Okay, well, thank you for your honesty. But here's the problem. You owed that girl a phone call. You didn't owe her your business, but you owed her a phone call. If she was under the impression that she was selling you this building, I understand you said that the first deal fell through and you didn't hear from her and you went with somebody else and that person found you a building. I do feel like before you posted it on social media, at the very least, you could have called So Gucci and said, girl, I really appreciate the fact that you were looking. I really appreciate the fact that, we just couldn't make it happen. But I did find something and I went with somebody else. And I appreciate all that you did. Especially since I didn't sign any paperwork. You didn't owe her anything. But let me tell you something. It is just a matter of a phone call. Listen, when I was shopping for my house, and I mean, we're talking about a house versus a commercial property, there was a realtor who had been working with me for a while. And then I had to stop looking for a while because some other things were happening in my life. And when I started looking again, and honestly, the house that I'm in now literally just fell into place. It fell into my lap, which is why I know it was supposed to be mine. I still called the person who was helping me originally and said, look, I really appreciate all the work that you did for me. I really appreciate, because listen, that realtor was taking me out every weekend. I said, I really appreciate all the work you do, but, I found this house, and I told them how it happened, because again, I had not signed with a new realtor. It literally fell in my lap, and then I had to kind of backwards map the situation. But I did still call that person and just thank them for their time. And for you to say that you don't even feel like you owe So Gucci a phone call, girl, Latrice, grow up. Grow up. And I think my biggest problem is sometimes you can be right and still be wrong. Because you didn't owe So Gucci anything. But you could have called her. And when when Carlos said, "Do you think you at least owe her an apology for not calling?" Latrice was like, "No." Even Carlos was shocked by that because Carlos understood. Yeah, you could have at least called the girl. And then she was like, "Well, if she was so upset, why did she like the picture?" And so Gucci was like, "Girl, I was being shady. I was letting you know that I see you." And Carlos was like, "Yeah, I probably would have done the same thing." So again, you're trying to justify, well, she liked the picture, so she couldn't have been too upset. Girl, again, that doesn't change the fact that you could have called her. And that's my opinion. I don't want no whole bunch of people talking about, well, Latrice this and then Gucci. I don't care about none of that other stuff that happened between Latrice and Gucci. I do not think Latrice owes anybody an apology about inviting Selena to her event. She said her and Selena are friends in real life, that Selena has been invited to events before, and that Selena and So Gucci have been in rooms before. They have danced together at her birthday party. They've done all these things, and it's never been an issue until now. So I don't think she owes anybody an apology about that. I think both of them behaved badly and it escalated. That is what I think. Um, but yeah, girl, Latrice, I just um the Fair Street situation again. The reunion again. Leticia explained it well. I had a vision. I had an idea. I didn't have the financing. Akeisha had the financing, she had the connection, she had the vision. I welcomed it because I wanted it done however it got done. And like Akeisha said, because Carlos was like, well, why couldn't y'all have worked together? And like Akeisha said, well, you know that when I first came on the show, things between me and Latrice went left really quickly because of the brunch and some other things. And it just went left really fast. And we never really got back on track. She said, but right now, we are in a better place. We are rebuilding. And she said, actually, right now, I talked to her pretty much more than I talked to anybody else on the show at this point. And they are in the process. She said, but listen, that building that Latrice wanted at season 1, it's still available. So she could buy the building if she could get the financing. Now, Latrice, Miss Enterprises, Miss I got 5,000 businesses and I'm pushing my Porsche. Girl, you could, I mean, again, you couldn't have pulled together financing for the down payment. I mean, I know it's a long road. It's an uphill battle because it's a historical building. There are certain things you can't do and you have to do a certain way when it comes to the renovation. I know that's not going to be cheap. I know it's going to be a long process, but you ain't been able in 2 years to put together the financing to at least, get this, like, you buying up properties with Marie and Essie for rehabilitated addicts. You ain't been able to get, Marie ain't helping you with that. Like, I'm with Akeisha that says, listen, if you wanted it to happen, that building is still sitting there. Akeisha says she put in another bid for another building, and that's where we are with the process. And baby, I love how Akeisha handled Marie, because baby Marie kept trying to interject and put her 2 cents in, and Akeisha said, listen, I am not talking to anybody that has nothing to do with Fair Street about Fair Street. That is what I'm not going to do. I said, you better go ahead, Akeisha, and tell them people. You better let it be known. But honestly, that was basically the first part. Now, of course, we had this little confrontation at the end of the first episode where they get ready to go to lunch, and Latrice and Leticia get into it. They're calling each other liars, and then it escalates to the point where Marie and Latrice act like they about to fight each other. Listen, I'm just watching this reunion, so I've been hearing all week about, oh, they ganged up on Latrice. Oh, they ganged up on Latrice. I didn't see the gang up. Now, maybe that's going to come in part 2 or part 3, because we got 3 parts of this thing. So maybe it's going to come with part 2 or part 3, but I did not see a gang up. I just didn't. But we'll see how the rest of it rolls. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.